Welcome, travelers, to High Fantasy. I'm Brett. I clapped and I shouldn't have clapped. You got me clapping. I need my herb pouch. Daddy's been paying for my salt.
This
I'm part of the poop patrol, ma'am.
And I'm Emily. But I'm like, don't make the robots.
Don't make the robots
crunch. I would take Speak with Dinosaur in a second. I have beef with DC. It's a thing. It's a whole thing.
Join us on our epic world-spanning adventures. Armed with only a bit of long-bottom leaf, we will delve into some of the most amazing worlds of imagination that have ever existed. Before we get into that, don't forget to check out our Patreon if you want to support the channel. And without further ado, let's get into it.
You can clap.
You can.
Yay! Welcome to High Fantasy.
Yeah, welcome to High Fantasy. I'm Brett.
I'm Emily. We're leaving all of it in.
As our dog just barked into the microphone. So sorry for that, everybody.
So I don't. He already barks really loud, but he barked directly into the microphone.
It really was right in the mic.
Wow, and I don't usually wear the headphones, but I wore them today. Oh, that actually, brought tears to my eyes. Oh, that was awful.
And then immediately proceeded to go lay down on the other couch and look at us like, fuck you guys.
Oh my god. Buckley. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Welcome to High Fantasy.
Yes, welcome to High Fantasy, everybody. Today's topic is going to be about a very old game franchise that actually started back in the PlayStation 2 era. And I believe, I don't know if it is still this, but was at the time a PlayStation exclusive. We're going to be talking about the Ratchet and Clank series.
Nice. Okay.
So I think the first thing to kind of get into is right at the start, right? So we're going to go into a little bit of backstory and then kind of talk, because it's a story, but it was also a story kind of made for children. Okay. And so then as it went on and its, fan base got a little bit more diverse, they tried to incorporate a larger ongoing story to it. But it definitely didn't really start out that way. It was kind of supposed to be like a one and done kind of thing, and then they were like, "Oh wow, there's a lot of potential here," so they kind of kept going.
Okay.
So we start out with the main character, whose name is Ratchet. Who I believe, and don't quote me on this, is voiced by the guy who plays Danny Phantom.
He's a Phantom. He's Danny Phantom.
I could be wrong, but they sound very similar if it's not the same guy. Anyway. So we see our hero on kind of a backwater junk planet. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing about Ratchet and Clank that you'll find is it is spacefaring. So it's all about aliens on different planets and how they deal with stuff and do things, and it's crazy. But he's a mechanic on this backwater planet. Okay. And he's been trying to save up enough money in order to basically get off this planet. Mm-hmm. And he has managed to, over the years, or maybe even his life, I don't remember if that's where he started out, but anyway, save up enough to build his own ship. Okay. Well, there's a problem. Every ship requires an AI in order to pilot it, like a robot. Mm-hmm. He does not have a robot. Okay. To do so. So his ship is pretty much useless. Even though he's got one, doesn't really do anything. Cue our next hero in this adventure, Clank. Okay. Clank is a robot, I believe at the very first, I don't want to spoil this for anybody, so we're just going to say he kind of falls to the planet, doesn't really know who he is, why he's there. Mm-hmm. But you know the kind of model of the Iron Giant? Yeah. That head on a very, very tiny body. Okay. Is pretty much Clank. So he falls, Ratchet finds him, I want to say in like a crater. Okay. And after, kind of going through, that's how you do like the tutorial stuff of like, hey, go jump, and this is how you attack, and this is how you do other stuff. Yeah. They find each other, and basically Clank agrees to team up with Ratchet in order to go to different planets and worlds and stuff like that, and kind of have their own spacefaring adventures. Okay. So that's kind of the first main chunk of backstory, I think, for the game. Mm-hmm. But in order to understand kind of how the game is played, we need to get into kind of what it looks like when you're playing. Okay. So it's a third-person shooter game. Okay. You also have one melee weapon.
Got it.
called the Omni Wrench
Okay.
because he's a mechanic.
Uh-huh.
So it's like this big wrench that he uses to, attack stuff and
Yeah.
things like that. That's the first weapon you have is the Omni Wrench. I think you get like a little bolter gun after that, and et cetera, et cetera. This game is very big into corporations.
Okay.
So it's got a lot of like weapon companies and stuff like that. And if I remember right, Ratchet in the very beginning is watching a TV show about this guy called Commander Quark.
Okay.
And Commander Quark is supposedly like the leader of not the space police, but kind of that same organization where it's like, we're here to bring justice to the galaxy kind of stuff.
So, space police.
Yeah, so space police. And Ratchet's like, I'm going to have adventures just like him. I'm going to go meet Captain Quark and I'm going to do all this stuff.
Okay.
So I guess with this in mind, I'm going to give you an option here.
Okay.
I can go more into the backstory and kind of tell you more of the story of the game right now, or I can tell you a little bit more about the mechanics so you kind of see how things are playing out as you're going through these worlds.
Let's hear the story of it, because I'm not going to be able to follow mechanics anyways.
Okay.
Because it's not right in front of us.
Um,
Unless there's like a super cool mechanic you want to share with the group.
I think I will eventually, but like we'll get into the story and then we'll get into the mechanics afterwards so you can kind of...
So, spoiler warning right now. We're going to learn the story.
Yes. So if nobody wants to know the story of Ratchet and Clank...
Go away! Come back later.
Why are you watching an episode about the lore of Ratchet and Clank? Anyway, so basically they manage to get off world. And when they get off world, you get a couple options of places to go. Now, the first thing that starts to happen that kind of is a prelude to this being the story of the game is I think he's gonna go try and find Captain Quark. Like, that's his goal. Could be wrong. It's been a while. And once again, keep in mind that the story of this is written kind of for younger kids.
Yeah.
So it's followable, but...
Exactly. There's a story there. There's a reason you're doing these things.
A lot of the time, you're more interested in, like, exploring the worlds and stuff, and not, like, what's going on.
So do you explore each different world?
You do.
Okay.
Each world has its own explorables, its own secret hidden areas. You can find weapons, you can get money, which money is, in this world, bolts is what they call it.
Okay.
Because technology is a very big thing here, and so there's always a need for nuts and bolts.
Okay.
And so whenever you like break a robot or you destroy something like that, you'll get bolts for taking it down.
Okay.
And then you can buy new weapons with that, buy ammunition, buy upgrades, things like that. But yes, so you're going to these different worlds. I want to say you're trying to find Captain Quark.
Okay.
But as you're kind of going through, different things start to happen to the planets you're on. And chunks of the planet start going missing.
Uh-oh.
So, like, let's say, like, there's this one planet where it's a tropical paradise. Beautiful. It's literally like vacation planet. That's where you go when you just want to get away from everything.
Okay.
Well, a bunch of their water's going missing.
But they're vacation planet.
Exactly.
There's water everywhere.
Exactly. So, or maybe a very nice chunk of lush green forest goes missing, or, something like that.
Yeah.
And this keeps happening to each planet you're going to, by the way. And you'll explore a lot of that, but not a whole lot of that is actually important to the story.
Right.
So, you eventually find Captain Quark.
Okay.
No real spoiler, he's totally useless. He's an idiot. He's bad at his job.
I love it.
And he very, very rarely accomplishes anything of actual use.
Okay.
He's working for this, like, governor guy. Who basically is kind of like a president of a corporation.
Yeah.
Now, here's where the story kind of, like, collects, right? This guy does not seem like a great dude.
Yeah.
And that's because he's not.
Okay.
He's actually been building his own planet. And he's selling off, like, real estate there for massive amounts of money.
Okay.
But to do this, he took the best parts of these other planets, stole them, and put them together in his own world.
Mm.
Kind of like the Collector, now that I think about it. But in a much larger scale.
Yeah.
Because it would be like taking, I don't know,
That's without
Australia.
permission.
Yeah, like Australia. Just gone. And we're like, what?
Goodbye,
like, we
Australia.
need that. Like, wait a minute. But yes, so long story short, the very first story of the first game is basically real estate tycoon steals a bunch of parts of the planet to build his own perfect world. And he ends up kind of like Frankensteining them together to make the perfect planet.
So he just makes Earth.
I mean, I guess kind of, yeah, in a way.
Because if you think about it, if there's a bunch of different planets that like specialize in certain things, if there's a planet that's just all tropics with oceans and water, Earth is just a combination of all different biomes and things. There's deserts, there's tropical forests, there's tundras.
Yeah, you're really not wrong.
So he's just making Earth. Earth 2.
Earth 2. Now, the problem here is without those pieces of the planets, they're going to kind of start to degrade, and it's going to be very bad for them.
Yeah, those planets that he stole from are fucked.
Exactly. So you're kind of like, well, we can't let that happen, so we got to, But in a nutshell, that's the entire story of Ratchet and Clank 1.
Okay.
Now, I'm glossing over some parts, I'm speeding through some other ones, and I'm fully not talking about a lot of the game.
Okay.
Because most of the game is not the main story of this.
Okay. Is it just side stories?
Yeah.
Like, here, take a quest, go deliver chicken to Lady's Chicken Farm.
Yep. That's almost the entirety of the game. There's a whole combat arena.
Oh, that's fun.
That you can go and do specific setup fights with.
Okay.
Some of them limit the kind of weapons you can use. So sometimes it'll be like, hey, fight this guy, and you can use all the weapons in the world. And then you'll unlock a challenge after beating him, and it'll be like, all right, fight him again, but only with the Omni Wrench. And you're like, what? But if you do it, you get way more money. Stuff like that. It's one of the best ways in the game to get bolts. Okay. So if you're trying to get all of the guns and everything, doing the arena is a huge part of it. And they have like specific named fighters, and it's a whole thing. Like sometimes it's just little minions that you're fighting wave after wave. There's like the brain extractor or something. And it's like this big tentacled machine with a brain in the center of it, and it'll like do spin attacks at you, and sometimes it'll lash out just with its tentacles and stuff at you. It's really intricate and fun. And you have an announcer the entire time of like, ooh, he's gonna be feeling that in the morning.
Oh god.
Like, yeah. It's like he is absolutely destroying these things. Like it's like, especially as a 12-year-old, it's like, oh my god, I feel so powerful right now.
I'm the fucking best.
Like, I'm so good at this. There's hoverboard challenges.
Ooh.
So races that you can be kind of put together on.
That's very fun.
So I guess something I want to talk about is I remembered that there are these gadgets.
Okay.
Gadgets are what you need. They're not weapons, but they're used to like hack doors.
Ooh.
You can get like a grappling hook that lets you kind of like swing from place to place, but without it you can't really do anything.
Okay.
You can also get upgrades for Clank.
Okay.
So you can get like a double jump ability with Clank.
Ooh.
That's like one of the first things you do because you wear him like a backpack.
That's so fun.
And so most of the time you're playing Ratchet, and that's why it's called Ratchet and Clank, because Clank is kind of on his back and he's his partner, but he's not really like doing much. But one of the things you have to use for like hacking doors, it's a mini game.
Ooh, I love mini games.
You love mini games. So it gives you, let's say, 10 pipe pieces.
Okay.
And about, I want to say like 5 seconds into starting the match, there's like a goo that starts to run down these pipes. Ooh. And your goal is to get it from point A to point B using the pipe pieces that are
love that. I remember I used to play that type of game all the time.
And some of them are more difficult than others.
Uh-huh.
There's another one that's kind of like a maze game, and your whole goal is to get power to these different outlets, but you have to try and get it there in the most efficient way possible.
Oh, that's very
Or
fun.
work your way through the maze to get to the connection point before time runs out.
Oh, that's so fun.
I don't remember if that's Ratchet and Clank 1 or Ratchet and Clank 2. But anyway. So you defeat Captain Quark. He finds out that he's working for this guy and doesn't know that this guy's a bad guy because he's an idiot. Because Captain Quark is just dumb. But he's kind of a well-meaning idiot for the most part. He truly wants to be a hero, and he thinks he is a hero.
Oh.
But doesn't ever really get to be the hero there. So you save many planets in the galaxy. Ratchet and Clank build up a huge reputation.
Nice.
And you are known to be kind of the saviors of all of these different planets.
Okay.
Oh, there's another really fun side quest that you can do where you have to go in the sewers and collect sewer crystals for a space plumber.
For a space plumber?
And you have to fight these giant, like, sewer oozes down there.
Ew.
It's so cool. It's super fun. And if you find all of the crystals, you get, like, a special reward for doing it.
Uh-huh.
And there's hidden secrets throughout the maps. And sometimes you need, like, a special item to get to them, so you have to come back to a world after you've gone further in the story.
Okay.
But you can find golden bolts.
Ooh.
And these golden bolts at the end of the game are used to turn in this one very specific area for golden versions of the guns that you have.
Okay.
And they all do special things. So it's like you can get a golden rocket launcher. And I think it fires multiple rockets at once or something along those lines. Like they all have a special feature if you golden the gun. And I want to say if you get every single golden bolt in the game, you can unlock every golden gun.
Oh, that's fun.
And then it kind of gives you replayability because you can go back and play it again and again and again. Try and find all the golden bolts.
Yeah.
There's also hidden weapons that you can't get unless you do certain things.
Oh, that's super fun. What's your favorite weapon of the game?
The Rhino.
What does it do?
It is the most powerful gun in the game.
Okay.
And it basically shoots about 50 mini rockets all on one target.
Cool.
It's a big, like, boom, great for taking down bosses, great for taking down pretty much anything, but specifically good on big enemy units.
So I have a question that sort of relates to this game, but also sort of relates to all games. I hear people say a lot, it's the best gun in the game, it's the best gun in the game, but is that a statistical best gun in the game, or is that a opinionated best gun in the game? Because I know I've heard, like, especially with like people who like stream games like Fallout or Borderlands or whatever you're playing, I hear people always saying it's like this is the best gun in the game, but like how do you know it's the best gun in the game, or is that just a personal opinion?
Okay, so to break this down, I have to answer this in a couple different ways. So you're gonna have those people that are gonna say this is the best gun in the game because it's just their personal favorite.
Yeah.
So that's 100% something that some people will say. They're like, it's the best gun. And it's like it's only good because you like it.
Yeah.
Like there's other guns that are objectively better, but you're always gonna have that person who's gonna be like, this is the best gun. It's like it's actually kind of trash in comparison to this.
It's just a gun.
So to determine what the best gun in a game is, we have to ask ourselves a few questions. One, how much damage does it put out in one shot? And like also how much damage does it put out DPS, damage per second?
Okay.
Because like let's say you have a pistol. That pistol does 50 damage in a single shot. You can get off one shot every second. Well, then you have an assault rifle that does like 20 damage a shot, but you can get off 5 shots in a second. If you nail each one of those shots, that's better, obviously, for damage per second. But in other games, you'll have to deal with problems like damage resistances, damage durabilities. Like, for instance, if I'm going in with like a stealth objective, I need something that does as much damage as it can in a single shot because I'm probably trying to get like headshots and I'm probably trying to be quiet about it. So I'm going to need something with a silencer and I'm going to need something long range, preferably with a scope that can get good headshots. It doesn't matter if I can get off 30 shots in a second because I'm, so far away it's not usable. Which brings me to the second part of this, which is basically the effective range of each weapon, because in long range combat versus mid versus short, each type you're going to have a gun that's going to be better depending on what you're doing.
Right, it just depends on your build, I guess.
And it also depends on your skill level. Like there's some people out there that are just headshot, 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 headshot. And other people out there like I prefer guns that have a high fire rate and a high magazine size because I prefer the spray and pray method.
Yes.
Unless I'm doing something where they're not coming at me, they're not moving in a whole lot of ways, and I can kind of snipe them off at a distance. So it really is a question of playstyle.
Yeah.
It's a question of like, because a lot of people be like, oh, well, the rocket launcher does the most damage, so it's the best gun in the game. And it's like, that's great until you have another player that's sitting across the map pulling off headshots with a sniper rifle and you can't even shoot him with the rocket launcher.
Because
so
he's already gone.
Like what are you going to do at that point? So then it's the question of like, also, are you talking about PvP versus, PvE? Are we talking about stupid AI versus intelligent AI? Like, because playing against a player is a completely different strategy in the first place as playing against an actual like computer. Even on highest difficulties, computers are generally not going to be as good as other players.
Right.
If they're actually good.
Alright, so what's the craziest gun? Like, what's the weirdest gun in the game? Like, do they have any, like, funky guns?
Oh, they have so many funky guns in Ratchet and Clank, which I love about it. There's the bomb glove.
Okay.
So it's like a glove that you wear on your hand. It's got a little hole in the center, and it pops out a bomb, and then you just chuck it at someone and it explodes.
Where does it store it?
Great question. I think they say microbots build the bomb as you open up your hand, and it kind of just like, and then you
throw it. That's so cool! Microbots over here just building bombs.
Yeah, really neat.
Not dangerous.
Not dangerous at all. And keep in mind, there's a lot of different Ratchet and Clank games, so I can't remember exactly which ones are which. In the first game, things are pretty basic. You have like, I want to say you have a sniper rifle. You have a regular pistol is the first gun you get. There's like a machine gun kind of thing.
Yeah.
All the normal stuff. I think you get a plasma whip.
Oh.
Which is kind of cool. It's kind of a melee weapon, but it's got an ammo capacity, and every time you swing it, you lose an ammo.
Oh, interesting.
Which was a very kind of fun concept to get behind. There were were they called bombings? Something like that, where it was kind of the same idea with the bomb glove. You throw it, but instead of exploding immediately, it lands on the ground, and these little dudes kind of pop up. And they're these tiny little, like, munch robots. Okay. With these big mouths, no arms, just little legs.
Oh, shit.
And they will see an enemy. Immediately be like, ah-ha-ha! And just kind of jump up in the air and then start running towards them. Oh! And explode on contact.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it's kind of like smart bombs. Yeah. They were one of my favorite weapons in the game.
Yeah, because you didn't have to aim well, you just had to get a shoot. That's what I would need. I'm terrible at aiming in video games.
It's super good. But yeah, so that's kind of the story of Ratchet and Clank. A little bit of the weapons, a little bit of the backstory there, and a little bit of the fun stuff you kind of get to do. A lot of the Ratchet and Clank games are very much side stories. Yeah. Like, you do not have to do them. It's all optional. If you want to just rush through, you 100% can. But if you do, you're missing like 90% of the game.
Oh, really?
Which is nuts.
Do you have a favorite side quest?
I really like the hoverboard challenges.
Okay, what are those?
They're races that you get to do.
I love racing!
And if you win, you're rewarded. That's one of the ways you can get gadgets.
Okay.
And you can also get money that way. And I think if you win the final challenge, it's a golden bolt.
Ooh, did you ever win the golden bolt? How many did you get all the golden bolts?
No, I was a child.
Ah,
I did not get them all.
Noob.
I really was. But that brings us to the second Ratchet and Clank game. Now, the funniest thing is you're gonna start to see a pattern.
Okay.
So there's Ratchet and Clank.
Uh-huh.
Then there's Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. Which they basically join a group of like assault troops.
Okay.
And they're kind of like out actually doing what Quark was supposed to be doing.
Aww.
Where they're like making the world a better place.
Okay.
Or the galaxy a better place.
Okay.
So you're already intergalactic heroes. You're on this big force going commando. But the neatest thing about the Ratchet and Clank games, in my opinion, is the fact that it's not about the story.
Yeah.
It's very much more about the gameplay itself and just being able to play a game and enjoy it. Like, I went through that arena, I can't even tell you how many times. Loved it. Super fun idea. I went through the sewers, and I had more fun doing the side quests than I did doing anything in the actual game itself.
Yeah.
But this is where you're going to start to see a story start to evolve.
Okay.
So, eventually in the Ratchet and Clank series, there were these things called the Sony.
Okay.
Sony.
I was gonna say, like, the corporation.
Yeah, exactly. And they're these little robots that have kind of been running the galaxy behind everybody's back. Kind of like a shadow government.
Oh,
but
Sony.
They're benevolent. So they're all good. They're all good people. They just don't want to, like, mess with stuff too much because they're like, we're really powerful. Like, other people deserve time to do their own thing.
Oh, that's sweet.
Like, so they kind of just wander around here and there.
Okay.
There are so many little side quests and bonus objectives and mini games in Ratchet and Clank in all of the different games. I couldn't even begin.
Oh, really?
To go into detail about all of them. There's just so many. There was even one with Clank, which I think you would have liked a lot, where you had these little mini robots, and you get to play as Clank.
Oh!
And the robots do different things depending on which ones you have. Like, some of them are the bombs, but others are good at, like, pushing buttons, and others are, like, these ones can fly and do XYZ, so sometimes you'll have to send them over a ravine or a chasm.
Oh, shit.
And so it's like, well, you need ones that fly to get over there.
Okay.
And you'll have ones that can teleport. It's this whole thing. Super fun. Great little minigame thing you get to do. Because, like, I think it's like, oh, shoot, we have to open this door. Don't worry, I'll go through the vents and do it. And it's this whole little minigame you get to play with just Clank where he's like, da da da.
Oh, that's so cute.
I really, really enjoyed it. But yes, so you're in Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. They did everything that they did in Ratchet and Clank, but actually expanded on it in a great way.
Okay.
They gave you everything you enjoyed about Ratchet and Clank and just turned it up to 11.
Oh, I love it.
More guns.
Love it.
More worlds to explore.
Love it.
More minigames.
Yes!
And they gave us the ability to actually do space battles with a customizable ship. And you could buy better ships.
Space!
Yep.
Oh, that's fun.
And you could do space races, I believe, in the second one,
Space race?
Yep.
Space race!
So it could be, like, you're up there doing dog fights, you're up there, like, and you unlock different guns and different weapons for your ship.
Dog fights?
Yeah, dog fights. That's what a plane battle is called.
Oh, a plane.
When planes are fighting planes, it's a dog fight.
I thought you were talking about actual dog fighting. I'm like, we're doing space dog fights? Wait, what?
Like, you remember in the early times of planes where we had, like, the Red Baron and stuff? If they were to get into fights, like with machine guns shooting down other planes, it's a dog fight.
Okay, good to know, because I thought we were talking about actual... I was like, the puppies!
Yes, for those of you who don't know, plane-on-plane combat is dogfighting.
Thank you.
But yes.
Plane-on-plane fights.
Plane-on-plane, so in this case, ship-on-ship. Like, space dog fights.
Space dog... Okay, gotcha.
But you can unlock like bombs that you can shoot out and explode. You can unlock
Okay.
mines that you can leave behind your plane. So if somebody's like tailing your plane, you can just drop a mine.
Oh, space mine!
It's pretty cool. It's a super fun like mini game version of the game itself.
That's so fun.
And you can upgrade your ship to have more armor, more health, all that fun stuff.
I want to play this game. You're really selling it.
And it also implemented the coolest feature ever.
You were passionate about that. We maxed out the volume on that one.
You can level your guns.
Okay.
So the more you use it, the more it levels, more experience it gets. Once it levels enough, it will evolve.
Oh, to what?
Sometimes you get to choose. Sometimes it's a very specific thing.
Okay.
So, like you remember those little robots I told you about that follow people around and explode?
Yeah.
What if you could make them fly? So they could hit flying enemies as well as ground enemies.
Is there a max level?
There is.
Oh, the root.
There is a finished max level that you can get. You remember that laser whip?
Yeah.
What if every time you used it, it sent out a shockwave in front of you that went quite a ways off instead of just being melee?
That's so cool.
It's really neat. Really, really cool. So most of the time it was like just more damage or increased magazine size, stuff like that. But there were times when you leveled it enough that it would evolve to the next rank, the next tier. And every time it did, it would get this new feature, this new ability or something like that that just made it better. There was, I think, an upgrade, maybe... I'm trying to remember what it was, because it was a specific weapon that basically gave you like a little guardian drone.
Okay.
That would shoot people for you. He'd kind of just like hover around you and shoot people for you. And if you upgraded him, it gave you like 4 of them. And so they're just like constantly running around shooting stuff for you and doing crazy things. There is eventually in Ratchet and Clank, Secret Agent Clank, where they dress him up in a tuxedo.
Agent Clank.
You get to do a fake kaiju battle in a fake like movie set scene.
That's so fun.
And the more of these like little buildings and set stuff that you destroy, I think there's like achievements and stuff you can actually unlock for it.
Yes.
The whole game is just a fever dream, really, as you're kind of playing through it. You're like, oh my gosh. Like, Quark comes back, but he's a good guy, and he's trying to help you, but he's still a bumbling idiot. And it kind of just, with every game, you're more and more successful.
Okay.
Like, people just kind of know about you more and more, and they think you're really cool and awesome.
Yeah.
And eventually, there's, like, kind of a falling out between Ratchet and Clank. Because, like, Ratchet's like, you're basically just my sidekick, like, blah, blah, blah. And Clank's like, without me, you couldn't do any of this stuff. So there has to be that, like, rivalry and then the come back together moment. But one of the neat things about the story is throughout the entirety of the game, you play as Ratchet. He is called a Lombax.
Okay.
You never, in the history of the game, see another Lombax.
Okay.
Until, I want to say, like, the 3rd or 4th game?
Okay, what is a Lombax?
A Lombax is kind of like a long-eared meerkat.
Okay.
With kind of a long tail with a little poof at the end.
Okay.
But he's anthropomorphic.
Okay.
So he's still got hands and stuff, and he can still move and do things.
Okay.
But he's got like a muzzle, he's got long fluffy ears. And
what color?
Orange and gray, or orange and like more orange, kind of like a tabby cat.
Okay.
Like a house cat.
Okay.
Scorpion colors.
Okay.
Not like Scorpion the animal, Scorpion our pet cat, by the way.
Yes, our 3-legged tavern kitty.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, exactly those kind of colors. So like orange on dark orange, or orange on burnt orange kind of thing.
Okay.
Yep.
And his little robot sidekick.
And eventually, I don't... This is where my knowledge on it gets a little kerfuzzled. Because I played Ratchet and Clank, I played Ratchet and Clank Going Commando, and I played Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. Yeah.
They really grew into the teenage phase with you, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. And each game, it just kept giving you more of everything you wanted.
Yeah.
Like more customization for the spaceship. You like the arena? It's back, baby. Bigger fights, more stuff,
ever.
bigger challenges. You want that? You like that? Okay, we're gonna throw that back in there because you really like that. Like, oh, you really like and more guns. Even more guns. All the original ones, those are back and remastered, baby. Plus all the other guns from every other game, fully back and remastered. And here's like 20 more that we came up with for fun. Here's a shark gun. So they really went above and beyond on a lot of those games for gameplay.
Yeah.
But once again, the story, I wouldn't say that the story is necessarily amazing. But it was for kids, you know? And then it was for teenagers who were like, look, I blew up the robot. Like, that was how I felt about it when I was like 15 playing those games, 15, 16.
If you ever went back and played it again, you'd understand more of the story?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 30 now, so like I would hope I could pay a bit closer attention.
There is a story here.
Probably.
More than just ship battles, I guess.
But like, especially as a kid, I wasn't focused on the story. I was focused on leveling up my new weapon.
Yeah.
You know, I was focused on, oh, look at this new shiny thing I got. Or like, you know.
Do you think if you played it again, it would change? Do you think you would want to pay attention to the story more? Or do you think you'd still just want to like level up the weapon?
Oh, I want to pay attention to the story more, but I would definitely be leveling up the weapons just as much as I was before it. Because there is the nostalgia of it, of like, oh wow, I remember this. This gets so cool later. I mean, also keep in mind that these were games that, okay, I'm going to break this down. You have kilobytes, you have megabytes, you have gigabytes, and you have terabytes.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of these collectively is 1,000 of its prior.
I do understand somewhat.
Yeah. So a memory card for a PlayStation 2 came in 4, 8, 16, and 32 megabytes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. To fully save all of your game data on a memory card, it took kilobytes. Maybe 2 or 3 meg to save, Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
So that kind of tells you how big the games were for PlayStation 2. Now, you did need the hard copy of the game as well, which is what most of it booted off of. But you still, like, the amount of data there was so small in comparison to today's games where you need gigabytes and gigabytes.
This is a fun thing you're going to do for 2 days, not 2 months.
Exactly. So, like, the amount of gameplay in it, it was mostly the side quests. Like, if you wanted to keep playing that game, you could beat it in less than a day. Easy.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to keep playing the game, you could.
Yeah.
Because there was replayability out the ass, which was awesome. Super cool that they had that ability to do that. Which, like, the Ratchet and Clank series paved the way for some of the other game series as well. For the idea of, this is fun, people are enjoying this, it's the same characters that we've had. But then, like, when they introduced the Sony, it kind of threw me off, because it's definitely, like, Sony.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as interesting or fun for me, so I kind of lost interest after that. But there's about 5, maybe even 6 Ratchet and Clank games that they tried, and I'm so sad that I never saw this actually happen. When multiplayer was becoming a big thing, they were going to come out with a team-based Ratchet and Clank game.
Okay.
PvP style.
Okay.
So 3 of my guys versus 3 of your guys.
Oh.
And it would have been and I actually have the demo of this, which never actually got released, but I got a demo copy of it back when, like, hard copies were a huge thing.
Oh.
And we can still play it. But I think it's only ever single player. Because it was meant to be,
Yeah.
But the main thing is, there's objectives that you have to capture. And if your team captures those objectives, you get points.
Okay.
But there's side things you can do to really mess with your opponents. So,
Okay.
like, there's turrets you can take control of that will automatically target enemy
Ooh.
units. And that's just something getting in their way consistently.
Mm-hmm.
There's, like, tanks you would have been able to take control of and, like, hunt down enemy players with.
That's
There,
so
like, it
fun.
was so cool because a lot of the time it was like take and hold, right?
Yeah.
So it's get to this location, take it with your team, and make sure you keep it with your team.
Yeah.
And if you keep it for so long, you win the game.
Yeah, it's like capture the flag.
Pretty much, yeah. But you remember that Omni Wrench I told you about?
Yeah.
You use the Omni Wrench to solve puzzles.
Okay.
So there's like these big cogs in the middle of the map,
Uh-huh.
and you kind of open up the Omni Wrench,
Uh-huh.
and you use it to turn in a circle in this one cog,
Okay.
and eventually it turns something on, turns something off.
Yeah.
Which is why the Omni Wrench is so important. But yeah, for the most part, that is the vast majority of Ratchet and Clank. It was a very fun game.
Yeah.
It had a lot of replayability, and especially Ratchet and Clank 2 and 3. Oh my god.
Were those still PlayStation 2?
I want to say Ratchet and Clank Going Command. It was either I don't remember if Up Your Arsenal or Going Commando was second or third. I might be mixing those up. But I think two of them were for the PlayStation 2.
Okay.
And then the third one was for the PlayStation 3.
Uh-huh.
And then I know that some have been released for the PlayStation 4 as well. And so PlayStation 5 at this point, I don't know if they have it in the PlayStation Store where you can kind of go back and, if you've never played those games before,
right.
kind of
Kind of
backwards.
like how the Switch does it, where it's like, here are a bunch of free old games from consoles you're never going to be able to play unless you...
Yeah, or like you buy a pass for $20 a month or something, and you can play any game you want to from all of their old stores.
That is so fun, though.
It was an extremely cool game that I played for a long time when I was a kid.
What did your build look like?
Mostly sniper rifle, the little seeker robots, and rhino.
Oh, okay.
Mostly. So if I was leveling up the weapons, which it gave me an incentive, it gives you an incentive to use the other ones.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, I want to see what the laser whip can do eventually, or like I want to see.
I fully maxed out the rhino already, and as fun as it is, I can't level it anymore.
Exactly. And a lot of the times it would be like, okay, well, you're in the arena.
Uh-huh.
You have to beat the brain boss with just the laser whip.
What did some of the bosses look like?
So like there was a lot of different ones, right? So there was the arena ones, there was the brain boss, there was like this big dude with I want to say like sword hands.
Okay.
That you had to fight. I forget what his name was. It's been so long since I've done it.
Edward Sword Arms.
There was like these two brothers that were like wrestlers, and I swear one of them was based after Hulk Hogan.
I mean, any wrestler.
Let me tell you something, brother. A lot of the game was robots because I think they didn't want, because it was rated E for everyone. Yeah. So there was no blood.
Yeah.
Like there was no gore, nothing crazy like that. I really loved the plumber character that you interacted with that was like, he's like, you're going to have to go down the sewer and get those sewer crystals. He'd pay you bolts for every sewer crystal you came back with. Okay. And eventually you had to fight like this sewer octopus that was down there. But it was mostly just these like blobs of slime and stuff.
Okay.
You have to fight Quark at one point.
Oh.
He's a pansy. Obviously. Mostly robots, though, now that I think about it. Yeah. Like, there was, like, a tank robot thing that you had to fight in a couple areas.
Do you think that's why, like, and obviously, like you said, it's meant for kids, and a lot of people are fine with shooting games as long as you're not shooting other people. Like, yeah. That's a big trope for video game parents. It's like, okay, you can play this video game, but only because you're killing zombies.
Yep,
and
you don't do this to humans. Yeah,
yep. These are devil creatures. Shun them to hell.
Yeah. That's actually a really good point because like Halo was one of the first person shooter games I was ever allowed to play. And that's because you never have to murder humans. It's always aliens.
Yep.
And it didn't like. I think parents had a very interesting prerogative back then
Uh-huh.
because it didn't matter why these aliens were there or what you were doing.
No.
It's like, nah, those aren't humans. It's fine, free game, have at it. And I'm like,
These
that like even
aliens
if they're
are
peaceful, like
these aliens are peacefully trying to ingratiate the American, or the not the Americans, the Earthlings into the galactic society of civilized nations, and America was like, "Woo, guns!"
Woo, guns. Yeah, that really is kind of one of the ways they got around the higher rating
uh
systems was if you were killing aliens or
huh.
robots, and then
Yep.
it was E for everybody. But the second you threw
Or
one human in there,
monsters,
or monsters are
like
good too, like
demons,
demons and stuff. Well, even
monsters.
then, like Wolfenstein,
Uh
which was one
huh.
of the very first like first person shooter, like it was crazy. Was or I guess like Doom 2,
Uh
like stuff like
huh.
that. Uh, I think Wolfenstein might have initially been Nazis actually.
Oh.
Like you were killing demon Nazis and stuff and crazy things like that. But the Doom franchise has been out forever and it was the
Uh
same
huh.
thing, but it's pixelated. Even though you're killing demons, it still had an M rating
It's
because you were murdering those demons.
parents of the 90s. All right, with robots, with demons. What was the other one?
Aliens.
With aliens and with Nazis.
And
You can
Nazis.
kill any of those guys.
Kill them all. Because, like, I'm pretty sure that it was, like, Doom was still M rated despite everything.
Uh-huh.
Because, like, you'd shoot a demon and
Uh,
its entrails would come out.
I think that's also another big part of it,
Gore.
is it's like the gore aspect, where it's like demons are a very tricky fine line to ride, because it's like, okay, does a demon have a humanoid face?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do their bloody entrails work the same way, or does it look like green alien blood, you know?
Yeah, and I think there's a huge difference between the dialogue options being like,
Uh-huh.
"Rawr, I'm a bad guy and I'm here to do bad things," and like,
I'm gonna fuck your chicken strips.
yeah, exactly. It's like, what?
What
Wait
did
a
you just
minute.
say?
And it's like, I'm a demon from the bowels of hell. Be afraid. And then it's just like, I'm here to fuck bitches and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. And it's like, whoa. Like snorts coke and fucking lights up cigar.
Right,
Oh,
like, are
okay,
you allowed
whoa.
to do drugs in this video game? Maybe not for children.
Maybe not for kids.
Mommy, what's methamphetamine?
It's so crazy to see some of the stuff that people are allowed to like do and say in older games that
Uh-huh.
would never get into the
Oh, yeah.
censors. So, like some of this stuff is nuts. Like I've been playing Fallout New Vegas a lot recently,
Uh-huh.
and there's just character NPCs that are labeled as prostitute, hooker,
Yep.
whatever, and it's just like, okay, yeah, and they're like, hey baby, you want some of this? Come on, and I'm like, whoa, whoa,
I
whoa,
think
whoa,
it goes
whoa.
both ways, because there's certain things that you'd see in older games that you're like, oh, I would never, and just media in general. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's certain things from nowadays where it's like, oh, you would have never seen that back then.
Oh, never, ever, ever. Yeah, so like it's really cool. I will say just like this isn't the Jack and Daxter episode, obviously, but Jack and Daxter was very similar to Ratchet and Clank,
Uh-huh.
but they decided to go a more serious route with it.
Isn't Jack and Daxter the one where they didn't have guns until the second game or
Exactly.
something?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jack and Daxter did not have guns till the second one, but they were basically the idea of like we're gonna get angsty with the kids. Like we're gonna help them
Come
go
on,
through their
kids.
emo phase.
We're gonna go through our emo phase together.
Yep.
Where are you?
Yeah, pretty much. But that was basically Ratchet and Clank versus Jack and Daxter. Is in the second Jack and Daxter, he's just depressed.
Uh-huh.
He's more hard and serious about everything
shit.
and like doesn't care. No fun loving idea here anymore. He's just like, and he cusses now. And
Oh,
it's
shit!
it's like, wait a minute.
God damn!
Yeah. He's just like, I don't care. Fuck you. And it's like, whoa,
Oh,
what did he just say?
said the F
He's like, you can kiss my ass. It's like, whoa.
Parents who bought their kids the first Jack and Daxter, seeing the second one, were appalled.
Oh yeah, I remember, and I still have this for the I want to say PlayStation 1.
Oh,
It
shit.
might have been PlayStation 2. There was an old WWE game that Mom got me, not at all thinking that this would be bad.
Yeah.
At all, because it's a wrestling game. How could it be bad?
Yeah.
The voice
wrestling
lines
Yeah.
that they introduced in this game were hilarious to this day.
Yeah.
So you can play as Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Stop it.
And
No,
he
you
voice
can't.
acted it.
And he voice
acted
Oh,
it.
what did he say?
So when you're like in a hold or someone is like trying to flip your character or something, he'll be like, "Oh fuck," and he'll be like, "God damn," or "Son of a bitch," and he'll just keep saying it in that exact tone over and over and over again.
We have to like find this game, put it in a device, and make a TikTok.
Like, you can go against The Undertaker. There's so many. It's all WWE, like, people. So there was Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Yeah. Oh, fuck.
That's
he's like,
some
damn.
shit.
Damn it. Ow.
That is some funny shit, babe.
It's really good. Because, like, you know, obviously. But I never, like, Mom never thought to check that. Because it's like, it's just wrestling. You know, it's just gonna be grown men, like, trying to pin each other. This will be fine. And then she, like, happened to come by while I was playing the game. And my character, I always played as Dwayne Johnson, because I thought he was the coolest. And she heard, she's like, she fully double takes, right? Where she's just like, wait a minute.
She's like,
I'm hearing a lot of cussing.
How old were you?
I was, like 10. Maybe a little younger.
Come on, that's fine. You
like,
can hear cussing by then.
Well, yeah, but like, remember,
this was back. I remember when I was a kid.
Yeah,
parents making sure that a child never heard a cuss word was way bigger of a deal.
Huge deal
than it is nowadays.
Huge deal. So, and also like, Mom didn't want to be a bad parent, you know, like, and so it's like, yeah, people are gonna cuss around you, and you kind of deal with that. But there's a difference between, you know, an adult around you slipping up and you playing a game where you're constantly exposed to that kind of language consistently over and over and over again. So it's a difference if something happens in real life versus it happens in a game that you're being exposed to just a lot over and over. And I think that was what Mom was like, wait a minute. Maybe
you're gonna start repeating this on the playground.
Yeah, you're gonna think that this is acceptable, and whenever, you know, like, your uncle or someone messes up and says something like this around you, they're reprimanded and they're told that's not how they should be talking. I can't do that to a video game.
Right.
So
imagine walking up to a kid on the playground just being like, oh fuck, and then just being the parent there and being like, oh fuck.
I wasn't allowed to play Morrowind for the longest time, which was one of the old original Xbox games for the Elder Scrolls series.
Okay.
And so Skyrim.
Yeah.
The people who made Skyrim made Morrowind. But it was like Skyrim
on drugs.
0.2.
Yeah.
Like, it was not anything that we would see for you know, those kind of games now. Because it had drug use, it had prostitution, it had murder. And it didn't have that feature. So I do have to talk about this because this is really funny. In some games, they will not allow you to murder children.
Okay.
Because the game puts an immortality protocol on those NPCs that makes them unkillable. So you might be able to knock them out, you know, but you won't be. In some games, you can't even damage them. Okay. Like, you can't do anything against them. And in some games, if it's an important quest NPC or something, you can maybe knock them unconscious, but you can't kill them. Morrowind had no chill. At all.
Morrowind's like, you want to go murder everybody in this entire world?
You can do that.
Have fun,
Have
kids.
fun. Go at it. But it was crazy because you didn't know you were killing someone important until the game popped up one message, and it only had one.
Oh, God.
That it would pop up for you. You have killed a very important quest NPC. The main quest for Morrowind can no longer be completed. Would you like to load your last save that you had before you killed this NPC, or would you like to go forward with the knowledge that you will never be able to complete this game? Yeah.
They really said, you done did goofed, boy.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know, like, you played a lot of Mario Party and, like, Mario Kart and games like that, like tennis, like a lot of Wii stuff. I really explored the video game worlds, and I got into a lot of the different consoles and stuff like that. So it is interesting to see, like, how some parents will be like, they use it just like some people use TV, where it's like, just sit down, shut up for 8 hours, and I'm just, I'll come back and I'll feed you. Like, and other parents will be like, I don't know, like, they swore once in this. I don't think that's good. Or like, I see real red blood in here.
I think with my family, it was less about the maturity rating of games, and it was more about, because, like, I don't think my dad even had a comprehension of what rated R meant sometimes.
Fair.
But I think it was more of like a money thing where we didn't have the money for a lot of, so like we had the Wii, and we had Nintendo DS's, and we had games that we could like share on them, and a lot of them were like, there was Mario, there was Guitar Hero. It was never very the most story driven game we had was Sonic and the Secret Rings, which fucks. It was an incredible game. It has the worst controls in history. To make Sonic run, you had to tilt your Wii remote forward, and then you had to like tilt it side to side if you wanted to move left and right on the track. It was awful.
Goodness.
But loved that game. It had all the mini games in between. But yeah, we just had like the cheap games. I remember like on the computer we had like a Haunted House I Spy, which was my favorite. It was the best game ever. I want to find it again. And we had Solitaire and Minecraft. And when we visited my grandparents, my grandma had this casino game on her computer, and she'd let us play. She would only let us play one game. She'd let us play Mahjong. And she also played a lot of backgammon on it, and that's where I kind of learned how to play backgammon, was on her casino, like, multi-purpose game. We also occasionally played pool on it. But there was this one game, I don't remember what it was, but I remember it was a dinosaur game. Terrible graphics. There was like a fog screen in most of the places, but you had to go around collecting different dinosaurs' eggs. Oh, it had no story besides you had to find like 3 eggs, and if you found 3 eggs, you won without getting killed by dinosaurs.
That's
and I think
hilarious.
you were playing as a little dinosaur, but you never saw it because it was always in the first person perspective. This was on one of those bubble computers, by the way.
Yeah.
Like the computers you see in like Lizzie
McGuire,
and where it's like a bubble in the background, and then like there's the monitor in front.
Oh man, I remember those days. So I guess like here's a fun question to kind of, or a fun little bit to end on, would be, do you think that a game is okay for children to play? Like, what are the criteria for a game that you think a kid is okay to play? And by that I mean, like, let's say like 5 to 10, right? Because I think if you play a game and you're earlier than 5, like, you're not really into it probably or caring about it. 5 to 10 seems like a good ratio to be like, you're a kid, you're playing a video game, maybe some things are too mature for you to be dealing with right now.
Right.
So what do you think?
I'm okay with light cussing. Personally, that's just a personal preference.
Like if somebody's like shit, everybody. It's not a huge deal.
Exactly. If somebody's like hell or stupid or like just light cussing, where it's like, okay, maybe I don't want to be teaching my 5-year-old the word fuck because that could be a lot, and like so like I'm okay with light cussing. Like there are certain words that I was taught that are bad words that are not bad words in my opinion. So I'm okay with light cussing. I think it really a big part of it is what's gonna be scary for somebody that age. Like, don't need to be. I personally don't like gore, anyways. I hate like torture porn and like gore porn. I personally don't like it, and so I don't think there needs to be a ton of gore. It's okay if there's blood, I just not disgusting amount of it, and nothing really scary. Probably not jump scares or anything, because you don't want to send a 5 to 10-year-old to bed, and then all of a sudden they're being like, "But the alien popped up in my face."
That's gonna get me.
Like,
That's very fair.
so probably like that, and then yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is as long as they're having fun with it, because there's nothing worse
like
like
no sex, obviously.
yeah. Oh god,
Nothing like that in the games. You don't want
no.
that for the kid to have to deal with. Yeah, I think it's really weird for me because if the graphics are shitty enough,
Yep.
I'll allow some gore.
Right,
Like if you want
exactly.
to play the original Wolfenstein game, and you shoot this like pixelated pink demon, and its innards come out in a very pixelated way, that's fine for me. That's so
Right.
not reality that it's okay. But the problem is with a lot of games nowadays, they're so realistic that like my uncle can't even tell the difference. He's like, I thought that was a real person. And I'm like, the deep fakes and stuff like that exist for a reason now. Like they can do full animations and you can see the stubble on the dude's face and the sweat kind of moving down and is intercepted by each individual hair on his face. And you're like, what? It is nuts the amount of detail they're able to put into stuff nowadays. But a lot of those old games, it's like, I really don't care. Like if my 5 to 10-year-old wants to play Halo and you want to go shoot these aliens, that's fine. If you hear the Master Chief be like, "Damn it. Oh no, how terrible." Like they're going to have to learn that stuff eventually. And I think I agree, like those hard cuss words you don't want, your little kid learning, but if it's like shit or like damn it or hell,
and that's the biggest thing too. If it's like if it's too scary for you, if you've proven you played this game and now you think an alien's gonna come abduct you in your sleep, we're not playing that game anymore.
Not playing that game anymore.
But I think it's a lot of just like judgment of like who your kid is, and also like just I think communication is a big thing where it's like, okay, we're not going to say certain things because we saw it in a video game,
Yeah, this is not something that's allowed. This guy gets to say it. This guy gets to do it. You are not this guy.
Because I'm very much of the opinion that if you try to hide things from your children, and if you try to just like shield them and just like, oh, if you never experience this, then you're never gonna repeat it. I think that's stupid because kids are curious and they're gonna find out one way or another. I'd rather be the person to show them something, be like, I'm for sure when they're old enough showing our kids that one, like, you remember that YouTube video from like 2010 era where it was like a car coming down a hill and then like a zombie pops up and jump scares you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm for sure going to be traumatizing your children with that one so that they're never traumatized by anybody else by it. Like I was.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have like censorship in the regards to children. Like for people who have these young minds and haven't had any level of buffer to understand that it's like, this is fake, this is fictional, this isn't happening in real life, this isn't gonna happen in real life, it's okay. Depression, anxiety, and all that other stuff is bad for adults as it is.
Yeah.
Like, instituting that into children who have no frame of reference for stuff is not great because they do, like, you're gonna be like, oh no, it is under my bed. And it's like, as an adult, you're like, I know that's not under my bed. I'm gonna be okay with it. Even if it was a scary thing for you, it's still gonna be like, yeah, but realistically it's not real. And that's something even some adults have a hard time differentiating. Like, for the longest time, I was afraid of Smeagol from Lord of the Rings because as a young kid, I watched it and it traumatized me. But, like, and that kind of followed me. Like, I had night terrors of that little thing. But as I got older and I realized it's like, it doesn't exist, it's not real, and, it helped me process that. But it's something, if I hadn't been introduced to that as a kid, I wouldn't have had to worry about. If I had had more time before I had seen that. And sometimes that's going to happen. Like, you just don't know what's going to trigger some kids and be like, oh, that's a terrible memory for me.
Right.
Because, like, you wouldn't think watching Lord of the Rings would be a bad thing for someone.
Right.
And it really was. But, I don't blame my mom for that. I don't blame anybody, like the first person who showed that to me. I'm not like, oh my gosh, you're a terrible person for showing this to a child. I'm thinking to myself, man, I wish I hadn't seen that. But also, it did happen, and that's okay. And I processed it and moved on.
Right, and I think we're really lucky for one day when we have kids because you play video games already. It's like, I think there's a huge difference between sitting down and be like, here, kid, play a video game, enjoy yourself, and sitting down and be like, okay, we're going to play this together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if this gets too much,
you let me know.
Or if you're like sitting down playing it and be like, okay, I think this is probably too much. We're gonna, like,
yeah, this is probably not great for us. We're gonna just not do it. Yeah, and it's really funny because as a gamer, if you play pretty much anything from Nintendo, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything from Nintendo.
No,
for the most part.
It's anything.
Well, I say this because I'm pretty sure Dead Space was on Wii, and that is a horror space zombie game that would give people nightmares. You want to talk about gore?
It's fine.
But like Mario, Sonic, like all of those game franchises.
Play all the Sonic games.
Yeah, like every Sonic game. If you Pokemon, like you're not gonna go wrong with Pokemon. You can play those forever. The SpongeBob
Carnival,
games, like the
Wii
Nickelodeon
Sports.
kind of stuff.
There was a hunting game we had when my dad got a hunting game for himself on the Wii, and he got he got the attachment.
The light gun?
Was a gun.
Oh yeah.
He thought he was so cool killing bears.
Do you know William Shatner, the guy who played Captain Kirk, actually went bear hunting? And he ended up on the front of a hunting magazine, and it was bow hunting. He killed a bear with a bow. But when you do that, apparently it's smart to have somebody behind you with an actual gun, just in case you fuck it up.
Just in case he's...
Because if you do, you still got that dude that's there
to
to save your life.
He never actually... He was the person behind the guy with the bow.
That'd be funny. But yeah, like, kind of going in... Like, it's important to not have kids play games if they're not ready for it. Yeah. And that's what the intent of the maturity system is there for. Rated E for everyone is anybody can play it at all. Rated T for teen is something that's got some suggestive themes in it, and it shouldn't be. Rated M for mature is for people 18 and up, and then I forget what the one right after that is, but it's basically like only actual hardcore adults who have seen some shit should be playing this game because it will fuck with you.
This is going to mess with your mind state in a way that no child should ever know.
Right, but like Minecraft, great game. It encourages creativity, all kinds of like fun stuff there. Core Keeper that we just started playing, I would totally let a 5 to 10-year-old play that. Like, there's not going to be anything that happens in those games that's awful. And the same thing with games I played when I was younger, like, Eye of the Beholder. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a D&D based game. And yes, there's monsters and there's gore. Mm-hmm. In the same way that there's gore in Wolfenstein. Yeah. Of like, oh no, I killed that pixelated fish man, and it shows like a slash over his chest and fake guts come out. And it's like, oh no. Like, it shouldn't be that big of a deal for that. But like, sometimes that is for kids, and I get that.
I'm a Halloween slut. Like, our kids will probably like be sticking their hands into bowls of peeled grapes while I tell them it's eyeballs eventually one day. So,
you're like, I can't really get too much into
what's the worst that a video game can do?
That's fair. So I guess my final question is, do you think that video games promote violence in younger generations? Because remember, that was a huge thing for us.
This is your second last question. You already asked me your last question.
That's true.
I think it promotes violence to children just as much as any other thing does, Like, what's to say that video game promotes more violence than going out, finding sticks in the backyard and playing swords with it, Yeah. Like, my mom got a pair of barbershop scissors stuck in her knee one time because her and her sister were arguing about something, and her sister threw barbershop scissors at her. Like, so...
Ouch.
Yeah, exactly. So I think at the end of the day, kids are going to get into what they get into, and the things that promotes more violence in them is a lack of communication and a lack of, like, teaching on the parents' part more than it is their fault, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you put in the effort and you put in the work, you put in the time with a kid. Like, video games are a great resource for many things, just like, you know, different types of music are a great, like, release and output for people. Any hobby can be, like, any hobby that a kid has
Mm-hmm.
can be a healthy hobby if you nurture it and if you, like, put in the time to make it a healthy hobby. But if you look at it from the standpoint of, oh, this is automatically going to be bad, or this is going to, you know, teach you something that I don't want you to be taught,
Mm-hmm.
then you're looking at it from the wrong perspective, because you should be standing there with your kid throughout the process and teaching them the right way to live and the right way to think, regardless of what this media says or regardless of what somebody else tells you.
Right. That's your whole job as a parent.
Uh-huh.
Is to make, like, if you leave a kid to their own devices around anything,
Uh-huh.
like, for a long period of time, it can end up being a bad thing, just because without that guiding influence that a parent is supposed to be, it can be
Mm-hmm.
very easy for negative things to either happen or to kind of work their way into happening.
It's like, it's the big difference between sitting your kid in front of a TV with Grand Theft Auto on it and saying play and have fun,
Yep.
and sitting them down in front of this game and being like, okay, look, this is very fun, but we don't do this in real life, and this is why we don't do this in, you know, like, because independence and being able to do stuff on your own isn't a bad thing, but you have to teach them what is right and what is wrong before anything else, you know?
Exactly. So I think that's a great spot to end it. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate
Mm-hmm.
you coming and joining us for another episode of High Fantasy. If you like the podcast and enjoy it, please, if you can, and would like to, you can support us over on Patreon as well.
Yeah, you can also like and
Yeah,
subscribe and do the things.
subscribe, hit the buttons, do the stuff. Do we have anything happening anytime soon? We have the podcast coming out. We just had new merch come out, actually.
We just had new merch come out. This is going to be coming out a lot later, so I'm not sure anything new yet, but we'll keep you updated.
Yes, we will keep you updated. Until then, thank you all for watching this episode of High Fantasy. I'm Brett.
I'm Emily.
And we'll see you again next time. Goodbye, everyone!